Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a little bit of a chat about the full set list for Surging Sparks. Now, when I say full set list, essentially what happened was the full set list has been made available online, kind of. Because actually what I really mean is, it's a full set list, but not including any secret rares that are not revealed in Japan. So the full set list is actually put on, Pokemon.com, but it doesn't include any secret rares that haven't been revealed in Japan. So we don't know all the secret rares. I'll show you them over the next few days, but it does show us the full regular set list, and this is very, very important. So, let's have a gander at some of the most important parts of this then, shall we? Starting off, now I think it was actually earlier today, I showed you that Ceruledge and Sylveon were confirmed, but like I've said, this is a pretty big deal, because these are EXs that were from decks over in Japan. We kind of knew that they were coming, but having them confirmed is a very big deal, especially Ceruledge, which is proven to be a top deck over in Japan. Coming along with both of them, we actually have the two A-specs from there, but the one I didn't show you yesterday in English was Precious Trolley. Just lets you search a deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. It's a pretty big deal. So the fact that that is coming is awesome. Also from those decks, we have now got confirmation that Terra Orb is coming. It's just an item card that lets you search for a Terra Pokemon and put it into your hand. And look, if you're playing a Terra heavy deck, or a deck that relies on Terra Pokemon, actually, genuinely a big deal. Might end up seeing play in a bunch of decks. It's a card you can't be sleeping on. But there is one card from these decks that I was particularly keen to see popping up here, and it has now been confirmed. It's Azumarill. This is a card I want to build around and play with and have an awful lot of fun. You see, it's got an attack double edge, and it's 4 energy, 230, 50 to itself, not particularly good. However, it's got the ability Glistening Bubbles. If you have any Terra Pokemon in play, the attack can be used for just a single Psychic Energy. At which point, you've got a single energy stage 1, hitting 230 damage, and the only thing you need to activate this is just putting a Terra Pokemon in play, which obviously most of the time here you're going to be going for a basic Terra Pokemon, just to make it a little bit easier for you. This is my favourite card in the set. I absolutely adore this card. This is one I'm going to be playing around with a lot. I can't promise it's going to be a great deck. Could end up being terrible. But it's one that I am very, very excited about. And it is one that I am absolutely going to be having a play with, a test with, and everything else. Now, there were a couple of Pokemon missing when we looked at this set list previously. A couple of EXs. We know that our Surging Sparks is largely made up of the two Japanese sets, 7A, Scarlet and Violet 7A Paradise Dragona, and Scarlet and Violet 8, which is Super Electric Breaker. But I have told you previously that there were not enough EXs. Even when you built in Ceruledge and Sylveon, we were missing a couple of EXs. I told you guys that the likelihood is we were going to be getting promo EXs popping into this set, and that is exactly what we've had. We have had confirmation that some of the promo EXs are going to be popping up here, are going to be coming out in our set, and we're starting off with Flamigo. Now, essentially, the way it works is every main Japanese set gets a promo pack with a new EX. And the most recent one that actually got released was Garganacl. Garganacl came around in Stellar Crown, but it's important to note that Garganacl was the Scarlet and Violet 4 gym promo over in Japan. To put that into context, Scarlet and Violet 4 was Paradox Rift. So Garganacl was basically the Paradox Rift gym promo, and we only got it in Stellar Crown? Well, the good news is we are catching up a little bit here, because Flamigo was actually the Scarlet and Violet 5 gym promo, which for us was Temporal Forces. Now, to be fair, Temporal Forces was still like 3 sets ago. Surging Sparks to Scarlet and Violet 8. This was a Scarlet and Violet 5 promo. But, you know, least we're getting it. Yay! Now, as for Flamigo, what we have here is a colourless Pokemon, 200 HP, and we've got Precise Beak, 2 energy, 30 damage. If this Pokemon and your opponent's active have the same amount of energy attached, it does 100 more damage. Sneaky, really good in pre-releases. Just putting that one out there, because you'll often have the same amount of energy as your opponent. Or just 4 energy, 230 to itself. Also, for what it's worth, very good in pre-releases. So, yeah, just kind of keep an eye on this dude. Like, you might not pull it in your pre-release, but if you do pull it in your pre-release, it's going to be a beast. In standard format, I do worry it's actually not going to be a beast. But I hear you guys saying, well, hang on a second, Wassy. If we're just getting one of these new promo pack EXs every set, surely we're never going to catch up with Japan. That's a fair point. Well, the Scarlet and Violet 6 Mask of Change promo was Killer Wattrel. And we're getting that one there. So what was our equivalent of Twilight Masquerade? This was the promo that came with that set. So now we're only 2 sets behind, and we get ourselves Killer Wattrel EX. You'll notice these gym promo EXs are not spectacular. They're not really supposed to be, but you know what? They're kind of fun, and I like that we finally got them. 260 HP stage 1, single energy, switch to the bench, and attach up to 2 basic lightning from your hand to this Pokemon. So you basically kind of hit and run while attaching energy, except you don't actually hit, you just run, you don't do any damage. But then 2 energy, 40 damage, plus 40 more for each lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. So you do this enough times, and eventually you will end up getting enough energy on there, and you'll do a bunch of damage. Probably, honestly, not going to be that good, but a man can dream. If anybody's wondering, the Stellar Miracle or Stellar Crown gym promo was Veluza. That is not in this set. We're not catching up that much, unfortunately. That one is one for which we have to wait a little bit longer. But, you know, we've been waiting for these gym promos, and we've got them. And I told you there were a couple of missing EXs, and that's the thing, we are catching up a bit, because we got the Ceruledge and the Sylveon, because we got the Flamigo and the Killer Wattrel. This is bringing us 4 EXs that weren't in either of the Japanese sets, but they're ones that we'd been missing, we needed to get, we needed to catch up with, so it's nice that they're finally making their way over here. And like I've said, the others might not be amazing, but the Ceruledge is genuinely like a top-tier deck, so that's one we can all be quite happy about. Something we all want to know a little bit of is, you know, what are the names of these Apex when they come around? Well, what we've been calling Amulet of Hope is literally just called Amulet of Hope. What we've been calling Energy Search Pro is just Energy Search Pro. What we've been calling Megaton Blower is just Megaton Blower, but these are ones that were easier to translate from Japanese with the katakana and all of that. So, confirmation that they are what we've been calling them all along. However, what we've been calling Miracle Intercom is actually Miracle Headset, which again makes a lot more sense because, you know, that's what we call that thing over in the West. And what we have been referring to up to now as Cherish Carrier is actually going to be called Precious Trolley. So, not quite the same on that one. But seriously, it lets you go and search for all of your basics and whack them down on the bench. That's pretty good. Oh, also Enriching Energy. So, this is one that we have previously been referring to as Rich Energy. Now confirmation that it is Enriching Energy. And just a side note from your old pal Wassy here, this is a special energy that when you attach it to a Pokemon, you draw 4 cards. And I'm telling you, in any decks that have got any kind of energy acceleration, i.e. they're not desperate for this to actually, pay the energy cost of attacks, there is a draw engine in here. Use it with something like Pidgeot V. Attach it, draw 4 cards, shuffle Pidgeot back into your deck, round and round we go. Or use it with the Dunsparce, where you attach it, you draw 4 cards, then you put the Dunsparce back into your deck and draw another 3 cards. I'm just telling you, there is a bit of a draw engine here, and you really do have to have another way to actually get your energy to pay for attacks or have attacks that are free. But I'm telling you, there's a draw engine in here, and I think somebody, sooner or later, gonna break this card. The only other thing I think is important to note is that Time is finally getting a release here. Another card that started life as a gym promo. And one thing that's important is this has got to tell your opponent the name of a Pokemon in your hand, put that Pokemon face down in front of you, your opponent guesses the HP, they reveal it. If they were right, they draw 4 cards. If not, you draw 4 cards. The interesting thing about this is, though, and I know I'm not the only one to point this out, but I do think it's important, this is a very similar kind of effect to what we saw with Blaine's Quiz. And you may remember that Blaine's Quiz got banned in PTCG Live, presumably because it's too awkward from a coding standpoint. So, I don't think it's a terribly relevant card. I don't think many people are going to play it, and I don't think it's actually going to be a big deal when it all comes down to it. But I don't think this card is actually going to be legal in Pokemon TCG Live because, whoa, Blaine's Quiz isn't, and this is pretty much exactly the same kind of thing, or Blaine's Quiz Show, because Blaine's Quiz are actually different cards. There were 3 of them. Point is, this is one to look out for. I don't think it's terribly relevant. I don't think it's actually going to be a big deal, but it is important to note that if you want to play it on Pokemon TCG Live, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed, right? That's what you need to know, ladies and gentlemen. That's a new set list, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about the new set. Tell me what you're excited about. Tell me what you're looking forward to. Tell me if you're surprised at anything's inclusion or exclusion. Let me know in the comment section. Good us. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far, and get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Kanto Royalty, who's a very lovely person who's been supporting us for a while, and shout out to them for being awesome. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.